Step 10 is a maintenance step. It's where you put your AA program into practice on a day-by-day basis. And it says this: continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admitted it. If you don't perform regular maintenance on your automobile, it'll decline into a state of disrepair. If you don't maintain your home, it'll become filthy and develop problems that need major repairs. And it's obvious that if you don't take care of your body on a regular basis, you'll become physically weak and develop illnesses. Well, Step 10 teaches that if you want to maintain spiritual fitness, it takes a plan of action and it involves work. Just as with physical fitness, regular exercise is critical to holding on to your progress and improving. And so, you need to spend time each day working on your spiritual fitness. Step 10 is asking you to pay attention to yourself. In other words, getting to know yourself better, then honestly accepting and owning your flaws. It also means allowing others to do the same. They don't need you to point out their imperfections. So the step is asking you to take a continuous look at your assets and liabilities and set a goal to learn and grow spiritually through that process. The wisdom of the ages is that until self-searching becomes a regular habit, you won't be able to advance much in life. This goes back to the original premise of the 12-step program, that your alcoholism or addiction is not your primary problem. It's a symptom of your underlying problem. And your underlying problem is a lack of emotional sobriety, your self-centeredness, and shallow spirituality. You were treating your emotional pain with alcohol, drugs, or your addictive behavior, and that pain was there to teach you something. So covering the pain or running from it hasn't served you well. It's vitally important for you to focus on practicing the 12-step way of living to reduce that emotional pain. Just as you can binge on alcohol, drugs, or your particular addictive behavior, you can also have emotional binges. This is something that the program is trying to teach you to avoid at all costs. When you have an emotional binge, you allow your old ways of responding to people, places, and situations to take over. This could result in prolonged negative mood states, such as anger, guilt, depression, self-pity, fear, or jealousy. But that can leave you in a state of hangover after the binge occurs. Try and avoid this. Your goal would be to admit and correct your errors on a continuing basis. It says in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, it is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. So, as you learn to monitor yourself for anger, lust, laziness, procrastination, jealousy, self-righteousness, self-pity, and self-centeredness, you'll need to analyze your actions and your reactions. You're encouraged to do this on the fly during the day, but to also do a short inventory at the end of each day. Remember, an inventory catalogs the good things that you did, as well as those times when you allowed your old character defects and shortcomings to emerge. If you can develop the habit of doing this, it won't take much time, and you can make decisions about how to handle similar situations better in the future. One suggested way of reflecting on your day is to identify your good intentions, thoughts, and acts. Give yourself credit when you tried to do the right thing, even if it didn't work. But you will need to examine the motives that led to the thoughts and actions that now appear to be wrong. Did you act out of pride, anger, jealousy, anxiety, or fear? Remember, it's easy to allow yourself to rationalize that your conduct was appropriate. If it's not clear to you, this is a good opportunity for you to contact your sponsor and discuss what happened. Many times, your sponsor will be able to offer you clarity and a perspective that you just couldn't see on your own. Another thing to watch for is seeking self-pity through complaining about your problems or depression. Rather, it should be a goal of yours to seek to bring something positive to others during the day. If you do suffer with depression and want to talk about your problems, confide in your sponsor, your therapist, or perhaps one very close friend. Don't spread it around everywhere. When you do identify some of those old negative behaviors, consider how you might have done better and ask for God's help to do better in the future. In all situations, you want to cultivate self-restraint, honest analysis of what went on, willingness to admit it when it's your fault, and willingness to forgive when it's their fault. Bill Wilson, the founder of the AA program, put it this way: honesty gets us sober, but tolerance keeps us sober. There's a book that I love entitled The Spirituality of Imperfection. In it, it says that tolerance is the antechamber to forgiveness. When we accept ourselves and all our weaknesses, flaws, and failings, we can begin to fulfill an even more challenging responsibility, accepting the weakness, limitations, and mixed upness of others that we love and respect. Then, and only then, it seems, do we become able to accept the weakness, defects, and shortcomings of those we find it difficult to love. Self-restraint is going to be invaluable to you. This ought to be your first goal in working step 10. Remember, one temper tantrum or harmful snap judgment can ruin your relationship with another person. Can you honestly think of a situation where angry criticism or hostile, power-driven arguments have served you well? Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. You're going to find it difficult to see continued improvement in your relationships with others until you cultivate the habit of self-restraint and until it becomes automatic. And having done so, that gives you an opportunity, in most cases, to talk it over with your sponsor or counselor before taking any action. But don't use this advice to justify your passive-aggressive behavior that's fed by your pride and vengefulness. Giving someone the silent treatment tears down relationships and is the opposite of the 12-step spiritual path. So by practicing step 10, you have an opportunity to spot, admit, and correct your flaws on a daily basis. This is the essence of character building and good living. A big part of daily maintenance of your spirituality is having genuine gratitude for the blessings that you have received and being willing to honestly look at the harms that you've done to others. And when you practice this, you'll begin to experience more peace and serenity.